sometimes people take these really seriously. I personally do not. I just think it's a fun thing to maybe learn a little bit more about yourself. But I'm going to be showing you the thing that I'm going to be using. I don't know exactly what it's called, but it's a little test. It is the Redstone Inkblot test. So a few months ago I did a part 1 to this, and it was the first 6 cards in this pack. I am now doing the second set, so 7 through 12. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, there are different sets to this. So I think it would be a nice little fun series to keep going. I feel like everybody likes taking little online personality tests, even if they're not super accurate. It's always fun, people always like learning more about themselves. So if you're unfamiliar with these, basically what happens is I will show you one of the cards, which the cards look like this, and whatever you see first, whatever you can see in there, it's supposed to say something about your personality. So let's just go ahead and get right into it. Alrighty, so if you have not seen the first one, I will put the link to that video in the description below, so feel free to check it out. If you've already seen it, then you know the drill. Let's get right into it. And I have the handbook in here, but I believe that, yeah, it's on the back as well. So here we go. We're gonna start with number 7, and I'll also tell you what I see in these as well. Okay, so I'm gonna move to the side a little bit here, and this is the first card. So go ahead and just take your time, kind of figure out what you see here, what it is that comes to mind first when you look at this. Alrighty, and feel free to pause if, at any point you feel like I'm going too fast. Feel free to pause it and just look and meditate on it, So I'll read all of these to you, and then I'll tell you what I saw. So as not to influence any one thing, Okay, so the very first thing was an anatomical image or X-ray of a chest showing heart, lungs, and blood. It says, if you saw that, it says, things are welling up inside you that you want to express, but all things considered, you'd prefer to suffer in silence and not rock the boat. You find it hard to say no in general. It's always easier to say yes, but though it's always easier to say yes, as the German artist Thomas Schutt, I may have said that incorrectly, so I apologize, has pointed out, because you don't have to explain a yes. So that's if you saw an X-ray of a chest. The next one is if you saw something with long ears, such as a bat, a rabbit, a jackal, headed god like Anubis, a moth, or a butterfly. It says you are very emotional, feel things very deeply, and have acute sense of responsibility and concern for others. It is one of the reasons you are greatly loved. It is also one of the reasons you don't have to ask for what you need more. The consequences can often be painful, but you can mess up badly. Because you've said, "Oh, I'll be fine," and you kick yourself every time. The next thing is a stingray. If you saw a stingray or a skate, you tend to put yourself second. I'm going to this is the 8th card. I don't even know what I see in this one. But go ahead and take your time. Looking at it, focusing. I think I know what I see. Maybe. Yeah, I think I know what I see. Okay. Got your answer. Alrighty. Okay. It says if you see two figures leaning forward, either monkeys, courtiers, or spiritual devotees of some sort bowed in prayer, or a person praying, it means a cerebral soul. You have a great capacity for imaginative, rigorous thought. You know all too well the concentration and patience required to do anything good, and can't see why anyone would settle for anything less if they care about what they're doing. You want to feel like the New Orleans piano player Alan Toussaint, who said of his mentor, Professor Longhair, a rule breaker is a rule maker. He blew my socks off, and I haven't worn any since. Alrighty. Secondly, if you saw a racing car, speed, voluptuousness, or two furry little cubs, babies, or devils, it says your highly developed imagination is one of the first things people notice about you. Metaphorical is your instinctive mode. You excel at constructing other worlds, seeing things from other people's point of view, imagining yourself soaring to great heights or plummeting to your doom. Okay, next. If you saw a dentist's or a barber's chair, it says you are sensitive and generous, a combination that ensures you get a lot out of life and take it painfully to heart in equal measure. Given the transparency of your feelings, people often want to look after you, which can occasionally confuse your understanding of intimacy. Very formal, conventional environments drain you. You would not thrive in the New England setting. The artist Cy Twombly grew up in. I once said to my mother, "You would be happy if I just kept well dressed and had good manners." And she said, "What else is there?" The next one is if you saw a woman lying back with her legs open, you can get very stuck in your head. Within moments, you can go from being completely in the present to looking down on it from a huge height, analyzing it to within an inch of its life. Balance is crucial for you, being able to stay in touch with your physical, sensual side. Life is about sensations as well as thoughts. It's about the texture of concrete particulars, the smell of the Paris metro, or what it feels like to hold a mouse in your hand, as writer Iris Murdoch once put it. Okay. What I saw is not on here at all. Okay. The last one. If you saw two dark forces or figures, perhaps female, about to invade and consume a prone figure / torso, it says you may progress as you digress, to paraphrase Lawrence Stern's Tristram Shandy, or you may just digress. However many unfinished letters or emails, unmade phone calls, or unacted upon lists trail in your wake. Your capacity for displacement is prodigious, and predictable energy and enthusiasm sapping. As Philip Roth said, the road to hell is paved with works in progress. So I actually saw like a beetle with its wings, and then like here's like the little things that they have, and its body right here. That's what I saw. But I feel like really there's no wrong answer to these, you know. It's mainly just like I feel like there's endless possibilities of what people can see. It's just those are see your comments, and looking at my comments is something, like, if I'm ever feeling down, I'll go and read my comments because you guys are really nice and I love you, and some of you guys have been here for a very long time, and I just want to say how grateful I am for you, so thank you so much. And if you're somebody who is kind of like a lurker, who watches the videos but doesn't really comment, that's totally fine. I just want to thank you guys for your silent support as well, so thank you. Anyway, not to get all sappy, but let's move on. Here is the next one. I already know what I see. Alrighty. Okie dokie, okie dokie. I'm trying to look and see what I see, but I keep seeing the same thing and it's not on this card. Anyway, do you have your answer? Okay. So I see a frog, first of all, and it's not on here. But okay, I'm gonna go ahead and read through these. So, if you see a jet plane taking off, or heat haze, it says you are good at losing yourself in the moment, forgetting yourself. You put a lot of energy into everything so that you can be as involved as much as possible. You can be involved as much as possible. There we go. Rather than with any expectations of what you might get out of it. Your relationships are the same, warm and loving, but not at all possessive. Your goodbyes are light and easy, a simple lifting of the anchor. The bunting comes out when someone hoofs into view. The next thing was if you saw a head of a duck-billed platypus with a yellow and blue bill, it says you feel very attuned, for want of a better word, to the universe. You are always trying to look in the right places to pick up the information coming your way. If things are too hard, you're encountering too much resistance, you'll reroute yourself. If a door is opening, you'll step through it. The soul, as poet Emily Dickinson said, selects her own society. You are good at accepting this, following your soul's lead. That's really nice, actually. Okay, next, if you saw two winged elephants, or possibly babies, you have a bold, dynamic attitude toward life. Take risks, so you're very alive. Comedian Stan Laurel was a kindred spirit, particularly when he said things like, if anyone at my funeral has a long face, I'll never speak to him again. If you saw two fish kissing, it says you believe there is a reason for everything, and although you know it is a key element of the human comedy that we can't control everything, you are determined to do things at the right time and not have regrets. The Czech writer Bohumil Hrabal pointed out, I'm sorry if I butchered that name, I apologize. It's interesting how young poets think of death while old folkies think of girls. Extrapolating his point so it applies to both genders. You plan to do the opposite. That was a lot. Okay, let's just move on. Okay, it says, lastly, upside down, if you saw, oh my god, two ladies in high heels laughing at a cocktail party. Which, okay, I can definitely see that. It says you have a great sense of affinity for nature. Intellectually, it fascinates you, the sense that nothing is lacking or superfluous about it. But it also satisfies you in a visceral way. Like the painter Henry Rousseau, you can go outside and see the sun and the green, everything flowering, and say, yes, indeed, all that belongs to me. Excellent. Moving on to the next thing. if you saw a mechanical device, pliers, a device for stretching the fingers, or a pair of gloves, pillows, it says you sometimes feel as if you try too hard with other people. You're a naturally loving person and consider kindness one of the great virtues, but you still wonder why you put on such a performance when you're not in the mood. As Lisa says in The Simpsons, Bart's pain is funny, mine isn't. It's as simple as that, so why do you act as if your feelings mean nothing? Don't you take yourself seriously enough? It's a really insightful one. The last and final one was if you saw a whippet, a wolf, or an owl upside down. It says you have something of the thoroughbred around you, and that you are capable of excellence, and perhaps have been groomed for it, but struggle to acknowledge that things don't have to be perfect the whole time. It's hard for you to adopt a Zen attitude, reminding yourself, for instance, that people won't love you any the less if you don't climb Mount Everest on a daily basis. I saw pliers, but what I first saw, which wasn't on the card, was just like hands like in this position. But alright, and the last and final card is this one right here. Alrighty, so here we go. If you saw pansies with attendant connotations of spring, bird of paradise, it says the wind is in your sails, a state of affairs that tends to emphasize your charming, energizing qualities. You believe in discussion, want to learn from others, are attentive, modest, and thoughtful, and like people as a rule. This broad philanthropy may reflect itself either in a strain of nonconformism, the sense that individuals should be free to do whatever they want, or in something more political. Next, if you saw pressed flowers of various sorts, including orchids, irises, cyclamen, it says you are very aware of what it's like to have been the object of a lot of attention as a child. The jury is out as to whether this is a good thing. Sometimes you think you may have overly high expectations of yourself. You are not seriously worried about being your own worst enemy, but you can understand artist Edgar Degas when he said, there is a kind of success that is indistinguishable from panic. The third thing was if you saw a moth or butterfly with a sting in tail. It says your affable, sociable exterior may not prepare people for how independent you are. The doggedness with which you revolve around your own unique orbit, in your own unique orbit. Naturally, you're drawn to the limelight in many ways. It's where your talents mean you belong, but you're dubious about the costs, and even more than that, you can't stand anyone telling you what to do. You're profoundly unbiddable. At the first hint of coercion, you disappear. And lastly, if you saw eyes in darkness with blinkers on, it says you have a great capacity for introspection. You go somewhere inside yourself, far out of others' reach, and think things over exhaustively. This is not always easy for other people, as Spencer Tracy says to Russell in His Girl Friday after she divorces him. I wish you hadn't done that, Hildy. Divorce me. Makes a fellow lose all faith in himself. Almost gives him a feeling he wasn't wanted. I saw a bare face. So I hope that you had fun with this. I hope that you learned maybe a little something about yourself. I don't know how accurate this is, but I try to not take these too seriously. But I do think that it's pretty cool, regardless of how seriously you take it. thank you for doing the Inkblot test with me twice now. I appreciate it. I'm gonna see if I can find different ones. Maybe then I'll be able to see something in the ink blots that is actually on the back of the card. But I love you guys so much. Thank you for joining me, and yeah, I hope that you sleep very well tonight.